Hello and guten Tag. We are Team UMCC from University of Muenster, Germany.
We all learn theoretic knowledge at university. However, most of us are scared of applying it to the real world. That's why we decided to enter the Charter Quest CFO Case Study Competition in order to face a unique opportunity of solving real-world business challenges.
During the first two stages of the Charter Quest CFO Case Study Competition, we were very challenged by the complexity given in the case. We went through several discussions and struggled. Nonetheless, we all brought in complementary strengths and figured out that a team is greater than the sum of its parts.
We hope to generate more attention to case studies, especially in Germany, as we aim to foster the case study culture here. Of course, the Charter Quest CFO Case Study Competition is a great opportunity to enlarge our network around the globe, and we hope for an ongoing international exchange with students from different cultures and backgrounds.
When applying to the Charter Quest CFO Case Study Competition, we dreamed of flying to South Africa. Now, after reaching the semi-finals, we hope to perform at our very best to even exceed our performance to bring an added value to the company and shareholders.
At this point, we need your support to enhance the awareness of case competitions and the opportunities behind it.
Share our video and spread the word.
That's it from our team.
See you in South Africa.
Thank you so much for the welcome. We are so happy to be here in Johannesburg finally, and we are Team University of Muenster Case Club from Münster in Germany. And yeah, we are feeling super excited, and we are keen to get to know all the people who are waiting for us in the hotel and the other teams.
Guys, I'm so excited, and I can see that you all are so excited. But I must ask, what are you most nervous about?
Well, I heard that Marc is nervous about getting a sunburn here in South Africa as it's cold winter back home, whereas Marvin is kind of nervous about not quite fitting the smart casual look, as we were all discussing on what the dress code might look like. And then we're of course nervous about making sure that we fit the competition and standing in front of the judges and selling our ideas and making sure we're most convincing, and yeah, really challenging, but most excited and at the same time nervous.
We bring fresh ideas, of course. We've thought all the alternatives. We've thought through all the recommendations, and we hope that we can bring a recommendation that is so feasible and long-lasting for AMANGO, so that we will get into the finals and learn more about South Africa, more about the teams. And so we are pretty pumped about the whole competition.
Yeah, thank you for the warm welcome here. We are really thrilled and honored to be here, and we are looking forward for some nice days in Johannesburg.
Do you have any message for your rivals, maybe your opposing teams?
Yeah, I can't wait to see them. I think we will have some great days with them together, and I hope for a good competition with them.
The AMANGO case researched, designed and developed by the CharterQuest Institute, is based on a real-world multinational business within the global metal and mining industry. It simulates the strategic decisions its group CFO and board faced or potentially faces. The group is faced with the complex interplay of strategic threats, weaknesses, and opportunities, some of which are embedded with serious ethical dilemmas, involving compelling individuals and powerful stakeholders that create a context for significant organizational change. The board has published a 3-year viability statement and turnaround strategy with emphasis on 4 policy objectives. 1. Restructure the portfolio. 2. Deleverage the balance sheet. 3. Drive operational discipline. And 4. Change dividend policy. 6 major issues have surfaced that require the group's attention, for which the board has asked the teams to prioritize, evaluate, and offer strategic advice. Managing divisional performance group-wide. A strategic performance measure relied upon to evaluate and reward executives appears to be creating some dysfunctional behaviors with unintended consequences. The CFO global aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to financial and performance management, strategic management, as well as cost and management accounting. Strategic joint venture decision in Canada. A native Aboriginal group in Canada has been on rampage against mining companies, singling out AMANGO for exploiting mineral resources with too little benefit accruing to their clan. A number of mining companies, including AMANGO, are going into JV arrangements to mitigate this risk and undertake coal mining projects following resurgence in coal prices. There is need to decide on the best configuration for the mining infrastructure, amongst others. The CFO global aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to risk and decision management, people and relationship management, as well as a clear distinction between traditional and modern cost management accounting techniques. Strategic disposal in Brazil. AMANGO, as part of an ongoing asset restructuring program, has received a $1.5 billion offer to buy one of its subsidiaries in Brazil. The offer needs to be evaluated taking into account its interconnection with the corporate reconstruction and reorganization issue. The CFO global aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to financial reporting, international financial management, as well as strategic management. Balance sheet deleverage or share repurchase. AMANGO'S iron ore and coal disposal plans in South Africa has come under attack by the PIC, its single largest shareholder, who is threatening to dump its shares in the market if it proceeds with the disposal plan. In a separate development, the government is about to promulgate a new set of mining regulations that will impose a 10% royalty tax on the turnover of all mining companies and require them to surrender 26% of their ownership to historically disadvantaged persons as part of its Black Economic Empowerment (BEE) policies. The company is considering to rather sell part of its residential property portfolio to a BEE group and use the funds to meet specified objectives. The CFO global aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to financial accounting, interest rate risk management, financial management, business ethics, industrial and community relations, the management of government relations, as well as strategic management, operational risk and industrial action in Australia. A controlled shutdown has been hurriedly effected in one of the group's mines in Australia, with 560 personnel evacuated due to safety concerns. 6 are reported dead, and 80 miners trapped in deep underground mines have been rescued. The incident has invited us notice to strike from the trade unions, and there is a protected strike that is already in motion. The CFO global aspirants were required to apply relevant costs and benefits, financial management, public relations management, human resources management, supply chain management, operations and safety management, as well as business ethics, corporate reconstruction and reorganization. There is a fierce board debate over the strategic direction of the group, impacting on the decision as to which businesses to sell and which ones to keep. The CFO Global aspirants were required to apply concepts relevant to ROI, RI, EVA, and strategic management.
Best wishes to the teams.
Okay guys, I'd like to introduce the next team, Team UMCC. Can you guys please take the stage?
Hello, guten Tag. It's an absolute privilege being part of the Charter Quest CFO Case Study Competition. As we were given AMANGO'S 6 business issues, we came to realize how all of them were so much intertwined with shareholder requests, standard requirements, and sustainability responsibilities. So, in order to help you make the most ethically tolerable, efficient, but also viable decision, we evaluated each of the 6 business issues, not only among what we call 3S to success, but also among AMANGO'S 7 key pillars, which you can see here as an integral part in our strategy. But first, let's start with our prioritization. So our prioritization is based on the level of urgency as well as the board's risk appetite. At very first, we ranked the corporate reconstruction and reorganization. One, because of the high insecurity of the commodity prices, which is even exceeding the board's risk appetite. And furthermore, a sustainable streamline towards 3 business units is a fundamental strategic decision which will impact all of the following ones. Second and thirdly, we ranked the management of divisional performance and also the operational risk in Australia. We see your workforce and your safety standards in your currently quite devastating situation as those assets of highest relevance. And furthermore, the organizational change of the company and also the safety and therefore the regulatory risk is at the limit of the board's risk appetite. This is why those issues should be ranked quite at the top. At fourth, the balance sheet deleverage decision. From the long-term decision, we see this one as the most important one. On the one hand side, because of the political, of the regulatory, and on the other hand side, because of potential risk to lose PIC, also strategic risk. This is why this issue is the most important one from the long-term decision, also at the limit of the board's risk appetite. Fifth and sixth of relatively lower impact, however, still extremely important to the shareholders. We see the strategic joint venture in Canada and the strategic disposal in Brazil. Still those issues of high importance to the shareholders, and the level of the board's risk appetite is somewhere in between within and at the limit of the board's risk appetite. Let's start with the first issue. So among the colors you can see here that we evaluated the PGMs and diamonds with A, followed up by copper with B+. From this analysis we conducted and recommend to you a sustainable streamline towards those 3 business units, which will not only give you a more sustainable profile, but also will let you see more trustworthy to the benefit of your shareholders. Coming to our second issue, the management of divisional performance, in order to get such exceptional and better safety standards, not only for your employees in the management, but also on the work side, we see the recommendation here of a 3-step bonus-malus system overhaul, which means in the first place integrating new KPIs, that is the maximum level of production load, safety standards, and then in a second step make sure that you integrate those new KPIs and finally reward and sanction if safety standards are, for example, being missed.
This bonus-malus system will also help you to overcome your current safety issues as well as the recent layoffs and strikes, as it forces the management, on the one hand, to keep your safety systems up to date, on the other hand, to have a fair loan system. But this is not enough, because due to several events in the last months, as for example the earthquake in Chile, you have a huge image damage, and even your investors might think that your production targets are higher than your safety standards. This is why we recommend to you to introduce a real-time wireless tracking system as your new safety standard for about $4 million, which puts you also in a better position to negotiate the wages and benefits with your unions. This is also easy to implement, as we recommend you further to shut down the faulty shaft in Australia, as it only generates losses at the moment, and to open a new one, built on a better basis and with the new safety system included.
Those new safety standards will of course also apply in South Africa, where we now get to a strategic, more long-term issue. There, Amango faces several challenges. First, the probability of losing government support if you would decide to close or dispose a significant share of your mines in South Africa. Second, if the sales plan proceeds, mining permits and other rights could be revoked. In addition, the PIC and other investors would sell their Amango shares. Fourth, you could face legal issues and protests if you decide to lay off a significant share of your employees in South Africa. Nearly a quarter of all employees just work in the coal and iron ore market in South Africa. So how do we tackle those challenges? As you can see, we recommend you to sell residential property, since those apartments do not belong to your core asset and would still lead to $6.4 billion in cash. Moreover, this would allow you to have pursued government support, which in our view is substantial for the ongoing restructuring process. Due to the right of first refusal, your employees won't have any disadvantages, what was crucial for us in the approach to become a people business. With the obtained cash, we recommend you to reduce the overall gearing in order to be financially flexible and be able to find investors in the future. Only through the leverage you would be able to improve your credit rating and reduce the overall gearing to 98%. Although the MPV of the share buyback program is slightly more, we value the probability of bankruptcy even higher, since Amango's credit rating has already junk status. So how does this fit into our 3S to success strategy? Talking about standards, our approach to become a people business and the right of first refusal will be beneficial for your employees. Although we recommend you to leave the coal and iron ore market in South Africa in the long term, we think it's the best to maintain a significant share of your business in South Africa through building new, sustainable business segments. Finally, to create shareholder value, our decision will result in 6% operating cost savings and has a positive net present value, so that the company value gets increased.
Canada, you are facing another long-term decision regarding your joint venture with CFO's and the Quinta project. There you have basically two options. Either you start building the standalone construction over the next 2 years, or you retreat from the joint venture and start to leave the Canadian coal market. Looking at the future performance of the several designs you were suggesting, we see that due to the falling coal prices, we have also a falling margin. And you are also, as the operator, bearing a higher risk than your partner CFO's. This is where we recommend to you to retreat from the joint venture and to start leaving the Canadian coal market. Another aspect for this decision is that your American partner won't be able to solve the current conflict with idle no more. So how does this now fit to 3S to success? Well, first of all, you won't harm the environment that much anymore, which is more sustainable. And secondly, you will have more investment capacities for other methods, as well as the risk reduction, which will satisfy your shareholders.
Talking about risk reduction, let's have a look at Brazil. The socio-economic background, as well as the political situation, has a tremendous impact on the governmental instabilities and the competition density among the country. This is because of the ongoing fiscal changes and because of the preferential access Brazil grants to the BRICS. Early this year, CMOC has offered to buy your neobium phosphate branch AMA&P for $1.5 billion. This offer is split into two parts. First, the payoff of the long-term liabilities, and second, the actual purchase of AMA&P for $1.05 billion, which is 25% below book value. At this point, we've calculated the present free cash flow, which is $3.39 billion. Additionally, we've calculated the WACC, which shows a slightly higher value for CMOC than for AMA&P. And with it, we've calculated the DCF, which is a stable growth rate of about 6% for the next 10 years. Finally, we come to the conclusion that the NPV for CMOC is at $100 million, which is almost 4 times the NPV of AMA&P. And this is why we recommend you to sell AMA&P. So talking about the 3S to success, what's in for you? You will be able to strengthen your standards and also your shareholder base. Additionally, leaving Brazil and laying off 7,200 employees will give you the possibility to strengthen your position, strengthen your productivity, and mitigate your risks. Finally, you will be able to not only strengthen your average operating efficiency, but also you will be able to increase your credit rating. And with it, you will be able to be more competitive in the future.
Summing up all our actions, we recommend to you a base metal retreat over the next years. As this is a step-by-step process, you have to start immediately in 2017 with laying off the Canadian coal business as well as the Australian one, and to sell the niobium and phosphates in Brazil. In 2018, you should continue with laying off the other Brazilian companies as well as to start a retreat of the coal business in South Africa. But why are we recommending this to you? Because, first, you will increase your sustainability by 3 long-lasting business units. Secondly, you will satisfy your shareholders as you reach your operating cost-saving goal, as well as a target net debt of $10 billion by mid-2018. And finally, you will have high standards as you introduce a new safety system as well as a fairer management performance system. Thank you for your attention. We cannot wait to take 3S to success into action with you.
Well done on a clear presentation. My focus will be on the residential property. If you can just expand on that, specifically if you do decide to sell, you will leave 53,000 employees without accommodation. How did you think around that?
Thank you for your question. So first of all, we just want to sell the residential property and not the coal and iron ore mines in South Africa. This for us is a long-term way to go. We will approach this step by step. So we won't lose the whole 50,000 employees immediately. We need to sell the residential property since this would lead to $6.4 billion in cash. And to make a turnaround with this company, we need to deleverage our balance sheet in order to be financially flexible. And that's why we think it's the best to sell the residential property. And in addition, our employees won't have any disadvantages immediately because they have the right of first refusal to stay in those apartments.
Thank you very much for a really clear presentation and your suggestion for the going forward. I just want to explore a little bit more your rationale on portfolio mix, right? So we chose your suggestion PGM, diamonds, and copper. What is the relationship of choosing those ones and the urgency of the company to really start generating more profit, and your decision to stage this investment and investment of different areas? So you suggest to choose 3 products that we will focus on, and what is the relation of the investment and the time frame that you see?
Okay. Well, first of all, we believe in the portfolio that we've chosen, on the one hand side, most sustainable, but also the portfolio that will give you the most make you less dependent on the current prices, as we believe also in the oncoming market of smartphones, especially PGMs, or not only smartphones, but also in mobile, all the chips that we will need, PGMs will be one asset that will be crucial in the future. So not only sustainability, but also do we believe that there's a cash cow in the product portfolio that we've chosen.
And with the time frame, we focused first on, like releasing part of your mines and selling them to get cash, to then in the future, like after 2018, when you started the process of retreating from the coal business, to invest in new businesses. But for the next 2 years, your main focus should be to regenerate cash from your mine selling and to also shift your workers to the existing mines. And there you could also invest first, as you can shift your workers, for example, in South Africa to the platinum mines and expand these mines.
Thank you so much, Team UMCC, for taking the time to come and talk to us. As a board member, I'm a bit worried and skeptical about some of your recommendations. You seem to want us to just consolidate on our profitability. So a lot of your recommendations are about selling off and exiting. Now, my question to you is, did you consider the social impact of that, or even some of the ethical matters associated with the dilemmas we communicated to you? Because I didn't really see that coming out. I mean, loss of jobs, loss of livelihoods. Did you think about that?
Thank you for your question. I absolutely can understand your concern. If we, for example, look at the South African market now, we're in the coal business, which we're planning to shut down and step by step. We're looking at 14,300 employees. Of course, there will be a certain layoff that we will have to consider step by step, but we have the mission to mitigate this layoff as much as possible, which means, one, for the older workers in the mines, maybe we can look at an early retirement program. For the younger workers that are highly motivated, we're also looking at maybe establishing another sustainable pillar in another renewable segment, such as onshore. We can elaborate more on that if you're interested in it. So there could be one transition, and as Isabel has mentioned before, especially in South Africa, we would be looking at taking those employees from the coal towards the platinum mine, as we could expand that and therefore create new workplace. So just a few of those ideas that we have a lot discussed about.
Great presentation, guys. I just want to ask you, do you think as a board we're going down the right direction? Do you think we've addressed all the issues? I know that's a bit of a broad question. And the second one, with renewable energy popping up all over the world, why do you recommend coal?
We absolutely think that with our strategy, 3 years to success, we will give you the best position to go into the future, have a sustainable future and a stable future. There are some critical aspects. We want to leave some other countries, such as Brazil, as fast as possible because they don't match the whole structure. It is critical, but we have to look on shareholders. We have to look on Africa more. 15% of all of your shareholders are the African government, 60% are from other countries. So this is where we have to look. We have to look to increase the credit rating, and we have to look to get Amango back on track. And this is why we recommend these actions to you, and this is also why we recommend you, for example, to go into onshore in South Africa, to mitigate risk even more, and to hedge risk inside the company, to give more an advantage to all of your shareholders and give your shareholders more safetiness for the future.
Thanks for your recommendation to the board. Do you think the safety issue in Australia is urgent enough to be ranked better than third? And if so, what do you think will be the broader strategic repercussions on the other actions that have been recommended if you rank the safety issues in Australia as third? Thank you.
So the safety issues in Australia are ranked that urgent because we have a huge image damage, not only in Australia, but it's image damage for your whole company all over the world, which also leads to investors who are worried about you performing in the future, and also who are maybe not willing to invest further in a company where you have those safety issues and where your workers think that they just give their life and not only their workforce to you. So this is why we rank this so urgent, because we think that with a better image on especially these safety issues, you will become, again, a company people want to work for, and you have a better reputation, which leads also to better or more investments in the future.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.